Hello, this is Brian Rowe with Mythic MTG Tech talking about the recent banning of several judges and the leaks for the upcoming set. A lot of people have asked me questions about this, both legally and ethically, and I'm going to try to address those questions today. One of the first things to remember, though, is that this is a game. The consequences of sharing information early is fundamentally different than the type of leak or First Amendment situation that you have with regards to WikiLeaks or The Guardian or New York Times publishing information on government corruption, on corporate corruption, on something that is really going to affect the life and welfare of individuals. Getting access to cards a little bit early to those trade secrets of Wizards of the Coast does not rise to the high level of First Amendment protection that you're looking at from something that came through WikiLeaks or The Guardian. We just can't equate these things. Yes, once a trade secret is out of the bag, once it's publicly on the internet, you have no obligation to keep that quiet or not talk about it. But as long as that trade secret hasn't been distributed to the public, Wizard of the Coast is well within their rights to toss you from sanctioned play or remove you as a judge for sharing that information publicly. The problem with the current statements, though, is that the ethical standards are fundamentally different from the legal rights. If Wizards has the legal right to tell anyone they can't play in their games, the question is, should they ban individuals for certain practices, and how do they go about doing that? Even if a ban is correct, if the process itself for banning and appealing is not fair, it's going to look really bad to us, the players. So to clarify here on the legal side, Wizards has the right to control their game, to control individual aspects of it with regards to sanctioned tournaments and determine who gets to play in their events or who doesn't. Ethically, we, the players, hold them to a high standard. We ask Wizards of the Coast to be fair in the way that they do that and to put together a set of expectations that is reasonable for us as players to follow. The recent bannings seem to violate that understanding that we have of fairness in process. Two individuals that were banned clearly shared corporate secrets that they shouldn't have to a large public audience. Other individuals were banned for merely being a member of that group. I'll let you know, I'm a member of a bunch of Facebook private groups, including some around Magic the Gathering. Many of those I've even turned off the notifications for. This type of thing could be happening in some of those private groups, and I never be aware. And under this particular precedence, Wizards could just ban me from events for merely being a member of those groups, even if I had never read the posts or never aware of what was happening. I am fine with Wizards taking actions against individuals who have violated a non-disclosure agreement, who violated a direct contract, or who have intentionally taken some stuff from the trade secrets and shared it widely. I am not okay when Wizards decides to apply guilt with anyone else who might have seen that information. Hopefully there's more details that we're not aware of that come out about this, and hopefully if some of those judges were not directly involved, that those suspensions are reversed. The problem here, though, is one of communication. We don't know exactly what's gone on, and we want Wizards to act in a fair way. And it appears they've decided to shoot first and ask questions later with regards to some of the shorter bans. Overall, I'm actually really happy with most of the bans that Wizards has put out. The suspensions for individuals who are cheating have come very quickly. If anything, I would even be happier with longer bans, especially when an individual has cheated on several occasions. Multiple instances of cheating should not be tolerated in the game. I'm also okay with Wizards choosing to suspend individuals who are creating a hostile environment for other players. It's well within Wizards of the Coast rights. I understand why they did it, and overall, I'm fine with that type of an action. What concerns me is when the actions taken appear not to be just in and of themselves. Let's be clear. Judges give giant amounts of volunteer time. They are more active in the community than many employees are. They have very little compensation for their time. The occasional promo card that they get or the booster packs for doing an event is just silly compensation for the hundreds of hours that they put in. They are held to a higher standard than other players. There is a judge code of conduct that was put together by a bunch of judges that makes it very clear to judges that they need to be ambassadors of the game. And if they act in a way that is not positive for the game, that there will be repercussions for them. Now, the judge code of conduct does not appear to be part of the official training for judges, and I think there's a need for more awareness around this particular part of judges' responsibilities. Many of the judges that I've talked to recently don't believe that they are in a contractual relationship to be a judge with Wizards of the Coast. The fact is, this game is owned by Wizards of the Coast, and in order to be a judge at sanctioned events, they are 110% in an agreement with Wizards of the Coast. They are serving at the pleasure of Wizards of the Coast. Being aware of that changes the way that they need to view their rights and responsibilities with regards to the game. The Magic Code of Conduct for judges is very reasonable overall. I'm actually pretty happy with this document. Unlike some of the other terms and conditions that Wizards puts on us, the player community, it's actually pretty well written. Wizards has some crazy things written on their website that are just sorely out of date and have nothing to do with how the community actually acts. Two examples of that really quickly. The Terms of Service for Wizards site specifically says that you are not allowed to post any intellectual property of Wizards of the Coast without prior written consent. That's crazy. Every single YouTuber I know is in violation of this. This is not what the community norms are. This is not the way that we act on a day-to-day basis. I would hate to see this used against someone as a way to ban them for things that Wizards does not like, or a way to go after them for a violation of this contract. Every time I put a card into a video, I'm violating this. This is just silly. The norms in our community do not support this ridiculous contract. Additionally, Wizards has a provision about streaming, that streaming may only be non-commercial in nature, and you can't feature any competing services. Now, the non-commercial part, I know some YouTubers that make this their living and may be streaming in a way where individuals can donate, can provide money through Twitch. Commercial streaming is part of the nature of professional players and professional YouTubers. Having this on their site is not in league with the way that Wizards of the Coast is treating the game informally. It's not in league with the actual norms in the community and is somewhat silly. What we all want in this situation is for Wizards to act in a way that is just and transparent. We want to know what's going on. We want reasonable policies that reflect the way that we play the game, the way that we share the game, the way that we interact, and we want to know that Wizards is doing things with the game and the players directly in mind. So I'm calling for more transparency from Wizards in the way that they act. I'm also calling for players to seriously consider what their grievances are and to band together in asking for policy changes from Wizards. I'm not sure that we need an official association or group, although that has worked in other games and sports for both judges, umpires and for players to get their voices heard, even if done informally, we can ask Wizards to change the way that they're operating so that they take into consideration our needs and our rights as players in their game. We all have a choice. There are competitors in the marketplace also. There are other games that we can move to playing. I, myself, would hate to do that. This game is amazing. I've grown up with it. I enjoy it a lot. And I believe that Wizards actually has the game and the players in mind when they're making these policy decisions. They just need to act in a way, especially on the communication front, that lets us know that they are listening to us. Thanks for going through a video today that was on a little bit more of a serious note. I've got some fun videos coming up. I've got patron pack openings happening probably tonight, maybe published tomorrow. I'm working on a blue-black Modern Fairies deck tech, and I'm looking at what's going to happen in 2016 for an upcoming predictions video. Finally, I'm doing commentary over at Card Kingdom's Rags to Riches Pauper tournament on Saturday in Ballard. If you're interested in that format, it's already sold out. These have been very popular tournaments, and I should have some deck techs coming from some of the players from that event in the coming weeks. I hope to make Pauper one of my bigger focuses in the coming year. For more balanced reporting on Magic the Gathering, please subscribe to the channel. Thank you to everybody who's over there on Patreon making this channel possible. I greatly appreciate it.